Before we start, I'm just going to have to say you are a person I just deeply respect. I had a coffee shop for a few years that most of you know, Life Coffee. And literally, I think anytime that I ever called you, you were just so nice to just
Thank
give me
you.
advice and help me out. Hey everyone, this is Dave Miller from the Life Podcast, and I am here today with Cassie, owner of Anchored Coffee and Bakery, and 5 locations now in Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Post Falls, kind of all over the place. And before we start, I'm just going to have to say you are a person I just deeply respect. I had a coffee shop for a few years that most of you know, Life Coffee, and literally, I think anytime that I ever called you, you were just so nice to just
Thank
give me
you.
advice and help me out. And I know you do so much for our community, especially with the first responders and just all of our community stuff. But this podcast is really just about getting to know you. Like, who's this lady that does all this amazing stuff and does all these amazing pastries and all that? So let's just jump right in if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Good deal. So maybe just start out, how long have you been in the area, and just tell us about who you are.
So my mom and dad were actually raised here. So I born and raised in Coeur d'Alene. I was born at the Big Blue.
Come on.
Yep, that's crazy. I feel like there's not that many of us left. My husband was also born and raised here. So
Oh,
we're
that's super
both,
cool.
natives to the area. Grew up, went to high school here. Got a job at Starbucks when I was 18. That was my introduction to coffee.
Fun.
I needed health insurance. So that's why I got a job there. Worked my way up. I was a store manager between Spokane and Coeur d'Alene for a lot of years. I spent 13 years there before deciding to go out on my own. I have a huge heart for first responders. My dad was an Idaho State Trooper my whole life. He retired in 2011
Oh.
when my first daughter was born, which he always said that as soon as I had kids, he was going to quit his job.
Really?
Yeah. To be grandpa daycare.
Come on.
Yep. So I actually lost him to suicide in 2014. So not long after he retired. And that's when I was like, I gotta make some big changes and figure
Yeah.
out kind of what I wanted to do after that. So Anchored was built on the dream of preventing suicide and assisting with mental health in our first responder community, which at that time it was very taboo to even talk about it.
Oh.
We struggled a lot with losing my dad, and even just using the word suicide felt so dirty, and like it was this super terrible
Yeah.
thing. So not that we wanted to normalize it, but we wanted to make it okay for people to talk about going to therapy, talk about all the negative and positive and all of the pieces that come with being a first responder. So when we opened our original location on Dalton, it was really to serve that part of the community. It was our vessel to reach them. So I got to know as many as I could. I knew a ton from my dad still being on the
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
It wasn't that far apart. Some of these guys babysat me when I was a kid, or their wives partially raised me. My dad would drop me off at dispatch when I was a kid.
Really?
My sister and I, if we, obviously times have changed. If he was the head accident reconstructionist at the time. So any fatal crash he got called out on. There was a lot in those days on Highway 95. So he would drop my sister and I off at dispatch, and we would shred paper from their reports and stuff. So I knew a lot of people. One of the county cops at the time built me this gorgeous table, hand carved, and has a medal in the flag. And so everyone just started dropping off patches and coins and pictures and telling stories about my dad that I had never heard. So it was also very healing for me to be
Yes.
able to reconnect with these people and hear what their experiences were with my dad, and for me to be able to share what my experiences were in helping prevent things from further happening.
Yeah. Do you still have the table?
Yeah.
Is it in one of your shops,
It's
or?
in Dalton, so the general public can't go inside, but when people are like, "Why is the fire engine parked there? Why are there police cars there?" They're just chilling at the table,
Yeah.
taking a break.
Okay. Now, is it possible sometime I could see this table?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, you will
Dude,
love it.
I would so much love that. And I obviously not to the magnitude that you did, but Life Public House was definitely a hangout for a lot of
Yes.
first responders. And, I had our store burned down, and I was just amazed at let's say 20 years ago, at the firefighters that literally were not only putting out the fire, but trying to trying to save like things that they thought would be important to us. And I was like, who does that?
Yeah.
When I mean, it was like 4 a.m. and they're literally out there just dealing with the fire, but then, it's saving like a sign saying, hey, here you go. I mean, is this something that you'd want? That was amazing. And then 17 years ago, I was, pretty tragic accident, dying on the field at Canfield. And if it wasn't for Coeur d'Alene Fire Department and Haas, who intubated me on the field there, I would not be here. So I've just always had a heart for the amazing sacrifice that these folks do. It's not, I don't, I can't understand it because I don't have that, but just to be, give of yourself so much. So thank you for what you do for our first responders, but I got to see the table.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. And it's fun to see all of the different things that people drop off or they mail to us, or, we had a couple guys down in Arizona for a training, and they got down there for training and they were like, oh my gosh, have you ever been to the place with that table? Because people will bring their friends in when they're in town. The troopers are the best at it because they get people from all over all the time, especially all over the state of Idaho, obviously. And they're like, we got to go to this spot and we'll show you the table.
I got to see the table.
Super rad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the Dalton location, that's by Skate Plaza.
Yep.
That's the first one, and it's still there.
Yes.
And I stop by on Fridays to pick up
so
your amazing pastries and coffee. Literally, we do First Responder Friday. It's obviously not much, but just a little something that we do just to say thanks. That's a big deal. So you had one location.
Yep.
And then now you have 5. How'd that happen?
So we made it through COVID. By the grace of God, we made it through COVID. It was super crazy. I only had 5 employees and we all worked all the time. Very tight-knit group. We had a blast. And then we purchased the Ironwood location right there in front of Peak Fitness. I think 2021 it was. And then we used to bake everything out of Dalton. So when we opened, I didn't want to serve the exact same food that every other place served. So I taught myself how to bake, and my best friend and I were the main bakers 7 days a week, made everything from scratch. So we needed a larger space because we had started taking on wholesale accounts too. We were making pastries and bagels for other people. Yes.
I was one of your wholesale customers.
So we opened a spot over on Niter. We had a kitchen there, and it only took us about 2 months to outgrow that space. So we were on the hunt for something larger, and then Prairie Falls popped up as, building their big, gorgeous building out on the golf course.
Nice.
It's so nice. So we doubled our square footage, which was great. We're going to have to get creative with that kitchen and moving things around because, again, yes. And that one is always so busy, and our biggest complaint is that we need more seating. I was trying to figure out how to add a second level to it so that we could just add more chairs.
A level like right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like those weird new airplanes that they're going to do. Just anything to get more seating because we love our community. We love that people want to come visit us. We love that we have these great products. I have the best bakers anyone could ever ask for.
Yeah, I'll attest, definitely.
Gosh, and I love people. And when we talk about what everyone's superpower is, I truly believe that my superpower is people. I love connecting. I love talking. I love figuring out what you like to do. I love having a heart for my employees that I invest in them and therefore they want to invest in me. We get, just like you did, a lot of teenagers that apply and work for us. And I want them to fulfill their hopes and dreams. And I know that this isn't a job that people are going to stay at for 25 years, but I like to be a place that we can send them off better than what we got them.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, just from knowing you, you're very evident that you love people and you're very willing to sacrifice and invest. So I can attest because I've been the recipient of that.
I love that you talk about that when you would call, I would answer because I truly, there's competitors out there that don't want to share any of their secrets. I'll share all my secrets. The world is big enough for all of us. The world is big enough for us to all succeed. And if I can prevent you from making any of the mistakes that I made, I would much rather you skip that step instead of you have to go through the turmoil.
Yeah, it's so cool when you run into people that think of an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. Like, oh, dude, I better protect what's mine because people are trying to take it, or there's not going to be enough for me. And you're definitely not that type of person. You definitely think, man, things are going good and things could go good for you too. I remember I'd call you for like one little question and you would go way above and beyond what I would. And I'd be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't know that or whatever. And so I appreciate it. So you have Prairie Falls, you had the Dalton one, and then you did the Ironwood one. And then what was the, you're also where at?
We're in the Stancraft Jet Center. We've been out there for a couple of years. And that one's open to the public for those that don't know. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful space. So we're out there. And then we just opened a new shop this summer on 4th Street at Birch.
Yes, I've been down there numerous times.
Yes.
And I'm going to say that the couch and the 2 chairs look familiar.
They do.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, I try to do meetings because it's obviously very close to here. So I try to do meetings there whenever I can. And it's a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
And the cool thing that I must say to everyone out there, because sometimes parking is very difficult in Midtown and you've got tons of
Huge.
parking.
Yep. We have street parking. We have a big parking lot.
Yeah.
We do private parties. You can rent out the conference room. So it's very different than any of our other spaces. And that one, our little node to first responders, we actually have a gal coming to paint a mural on the wall. And she's kind of recreating some photos that we pulled from downtown. And then all of the other artwork we got from the Museum of North Idaho. And it's like, a 1950s fire engine. It's
that's gonna be so
when
cool.
the police department and fire department were combined in the early 1900s. We got some of those prints. So we got them enlarged on like a stretched canvas. And all of our artwork will be old school Coeur d'Alene.
That'll be cool. When is this going to happen?
Hopefully in the next week, we should have that up.
Really?
Yeah, we got a sample photo because, obviously we are enlarging very, very old pictures. It's not like we can get a digital copy of it. So we were blowing them up as big as we could without them getting too pixelated.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we had to get a bunch of samples and see how big we could go with those. Yeah.
And she's going to like paint, like freehand paint it?
Freehand paint one of the walls. Yeah.
That is one skill that I am big time jealous of.
Oh, same.
I just can't. I can't draw or paint or anything like that.
I think that part of my brain didn't develop. The creative, the
Yeah,
extra chatty part, overdeveloped.
I was at this conference today, and they told us to draw these different things, and they're supposed to tell us about like how we think or how we process things. Well, it was a ship, a shark, a school of fish, just an anchor, this type of stuff. Well, I saw it as I drew like a ship, a shark, just like I was thinking in order, and it was supposed to be like a picture. It's like my mind just doesn't like everybody at my table had this beautiful picture of, like on the water and the sharks below. And then I just had them like listed. My mind, and they were bad drawing. So I am so jealous of people that can do that. I'm excited to see that. That'll be cool.
She sent me a sample sketch of what she was looking at, and even that blew me away. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. So what, just in business, because you've been 8-9 years, something like that?
Yeah, we opened in 2018.
What? So obviously you had the Starbucks experience before that. Had you owned a business before, or
no?
Just kind of learning on the run? Come on.
I'm very much we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's super
Left
cool.
my super stable job to be a business owner.
Yeah, you traded the 40 hours a week for 80 hours a week.
Yes, I did, which has been so worth it. Just being able to meet people. I joined the Red and Blue Foundation in 2016, which propelled me to open Anchored. Just seeing what everyone was going through and all of the things. This year we acquired a mental health program. So that's been super exciting to be able to touch even more lives, especially with the tragedy that we had this year. But being able to be involved with them as much as I have, I don't think I could have done that while still working at Starbucks, because the freedom of being a business owner, I can be like, hey, I need somebody to take care of this so that I can go, work on whatever it is I need to.
Yeah. And it is, owning a business gives you freedom, but it also kind of means that you're never off. It's kind of, you're always on. 5 locations and the Red and Blue Foundation, and obviously everything you do for the community. And you have children, right?
I do. I have 3 girls.
3 girls. How do you balance it all?
It gets pretty crazy. I involve my kids with work. They know how to bake. They go in and make their own beverages. They all would like to work there someday, but I try to involve them in as much as I can to teach them the principles and the values and the hard work and the rewards that you can have from doing things like this. My mom had them a ton this summer while I was working on the Canfield incident. And my mom did a really good job of explaining to them that although, she's caring for them today while I'm doing this thing, how important it is for our whole community that I am able to do this work.
Yeah.
And so I try to involve them in everything, but it does get challenging, especially this year. We dabbled in volleyball and drama at the same time, in addition to
Yeah.
everything else that we are already doing. And I feel like we need a full-time chauffeur. Each one of us, my husband takes a kid, I take a kid, my mom takes a kid,
Yes.
and we are all just trying to meet up in the same place eventually.
It's divide and conquer, like a lot of times.
It is.
We had 5, and there was times where now my oldest is 27 out of the house, so I don't have 5 still at the house. But there were times where like each kid has an activity, and you want to go to both, but you can't. So one goes this way and one goes this way, and then sometimes you catch half of this one, and then my wife and I'd catch half of this one, and she'd catch half, and then we'd switch. So I'd catch half, and it's weird, but you do.
Yeah. You do
you
what
just-
you can.
you make it work. And I think kids see that and they're like, oh,
Mhm.
dude, like it's always important for us to, value our kids and what they're doing and support them and all of that. But owning your own business, even though you might do their stuff, and then as a result, you might end up working from 9 till midnight to do XYZ, but you do get the freedom to be able to do that.
Yes. Yeah. There's no punch in the clock. It's
No.
24/7.
Yeah, good deal. So how about, I know that there's because obviously we own Beaumont Exchange, so we've had that for a long time, and I watch her balance the two. And I know especially, obviously guys, we could say, oh yeah, we own a business and we also are a dad. It's not the same. You ladies amaze me because you do like so much. How do you balance that? And what advice would you give to working moms, that either working moms or business owning moms? Like, do you have any advice for those folks? Or-
really good at calendaring
Yes.
everything down. I color code everything. I have to map out my week, I map out my month, and then I have to give myself grace on moving things around or if something runs over. But I try to spend quality time with the
Mhm.
kids without my phone, or prioritize movie nights, and make sure that they know that they're my whole world.
Yeah.
Without them I would not be who I am, and making sure that they actually know that.
I know they
And
do.
parenting is such a trip because when they're babies, and we had 3 under 5. It's a lot, and you feel like you're never going to get out of that stage. And now that they're 10, 12, and 14, I'm like, dang, I wish you were 5. Like, that stage was so fun and I
Yes.
miss it, but I absolutely love the stage that we're in right now. And even with like just the sports, the homework, the everything, and it's always so crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. They're adorable.
I know, it's crazy. And
Yes.
I try to tell, because my youngest is 16. So my oldest I've got 3 that are, out of the house or whatever, and 2 left. But you miss that, like the things that you think are so hectic and so crazy when they're gone. It's like, oh, did I miss that?
Yes. Now I'm at the stage where like my best friends are all having kids, and my best friend has a 1-year-old, and she is a dream. She's such a good baby. She's so beautiful. I love her so much. And I going through these conversations with my best friend, it's interesting my perspective now with my girls being so much older on like the advice that I give her and the things that I'm like, cherish this. And I'm not trying to beat a dead
Big time.
horse because you read these blogs where people are like, stop telling me to enjoy this phase, it's so hard. Like, I recognize that with her. Like, I know these nights are hard, I know the days are long.
Yeah.
But you will look back on this and be
Yeah.
like, man,
I
those
know.
little frog legs tucked up on your chest.
Oh, I know. I'm not a grandpa yet, but my daughter, she got married this past summer, and she hasn't told me this yet, but she told the next daughter down that they're going to start, trying or thinking about a family next year. And I'm just like, I'm kind of looking forward to grandpahood more than I should.
We talk about it all the time. I can't wait to have more babies around the house.
Yes,
Yes.
it's hard to explain, but and obviously, but for me, like when they're like that, whatever, one and a half, where they'll see something, a bright light or a sparkly thing or something for the first time, and they'll look at it with awe,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, oh my goodness, that's so
Oh, it is
amazing.
we go to church together, and she keeps her with us when we're at church, and there are certain parts of it that, like the lights or the singing or whatever, and she just lights up, and she'll start to babble, and it's like she's singing along with everyone. And it truly is just the best to watch life through their
Yeah.
little eyes.
It's crazy. It's literally the hardest job in the world, and the one that has given me the, sleepless nights, literally blood, sweat, tears. But man, I don't think anything can compare to being, a husband and a father, and, in your case, a mother and a wife. But it's just so awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I credit her too with when I start to spiral out, because being a business owner gets wild too when you're doing all of the things. So I'm like, I am missing something. I'm messing something up. I feel a little like my pants are on fire, or I'm a little out of control. And she is the first one to be like, are you putting everything in your calendar? Are you saying no appropriately? She is very good at telling me when I'm doing something great, but she is also very good at telling me when I am falling short of protecting me. And
Yeah.
that's something that when you're a business owner, you feel like you do have to say yes to everything, and you can't.
I know.
You cannot say yes to everything, and you just have to prioritize and execute and move down the list. And, some things are just going to be a no.
Yeah. I I will say, and I don't think I ever learned to say no. I always, yes, oh yeah, we can do that. Oh yeah, we can do that. And I will say there was numerous times where I'd text you like,
And I get a dozen
I
pastries.
forgot to do this, and I've got a party coming in. Can I get a dozen? And the crazy thing is, you'd always say, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." I'm like, really? So, anyways, that was, like this whole podcast really is. It's kind of selfish on my part. It's just a chance for me to sit down with people that I admire and respect, and just get to know you better. And if anyone watches it, so be it. But man, it's fun for me. So thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to say, I don't work for Anchored Bakery and Coffee, but if you want the literally best pastries in town, by far, you got to go. They're so phenomenal. Maple scones are my thing. Oh, and then in the morning, sometimes I'd get them, because I'd be at the shop early, and, like they'd be in that Tupperware, and the Tupperware would still be like warm or steaming. And I'd be like, I'd just open it up and I'd eat one, and I'd be like, okay, well, there's no
scones
profit in
today.
that.
I make that maple frosting at home and put it on graham crackers, and it's delicious.
That reminds me of childhood. My mom would do maple frosting on graham crackers, and I don't think I've ever done that for my kids. So my kids are deprived. But man, thank you so much. Boy, I just appreciate what you do for the community, and on behalf of so many people, just would say thank you so much for what you do and all that you represent in our community, because we do live in a phenomenal community and a phenomenal area in the world, and people like you keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, yeah. If you like hearing stories about people and just hearing the backstory and appreciate what you heard, man, like this, comment on this, share this, and tell people about it. And it's a great chance for me to get to know people and just hear the stories of cool people in our community. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.